Bottom is a British comedy sitcom that first aired on September 17, 1991, starting off as a 1989 pilot, following the silly antics of Richie Richard and Edward Hitler.
Any relation?
Well, I've got a mother.
Richie is a self-obsessed, depressed, and at times snobbish middle-aged man, owning a flat left to him by his Auntie Mabel, no relation to the woman of the polka dot plane. He struggles a lot with his communication skills. If the subject is about something he knows about, he either doesn't know how to respond or just makes stuff up, at times making him come across as rude or competitive. He doesn't have much friends aside from his longtime chum, Eddie, whom he shares a flat with. He does occasionally hang out with Eddie's pals, Budgun and Dave Hedgehog, however his relationship with them is basically non-existent. Richie struggles with his virginity and compulsory heterosexuality quite a lot in the show. In the episode Digger, he almost has a chance with a woman, but gets a heart attack upon seeing her undress. Richie's virginity is often used as a punchline, alongside his whining and at times old-fashioned attitude. Prior to Bond's production, Rick and Nate had collabed on many projects together, including the surreal The Young Ones sitcom about anarchic uni students, the lesser-known Flipfish and Catflap satirizing celeb culture, the Channel 4 series Comic Strip Presents of short films, and the Danish Brothers stunt sketches from their appearances on Saturday Live, the UK's answer to Saturday Night.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, yes! This week the Dangerous Brothers are proud to present for you Sir Adrian the Human Cannonball! But a human cannonball with a difference, because this cannonball will be on fire! Action! Yes. Careful! Careful! In the cannon! In the cannon! He's off his rocker, you know.
If you were to think of Britcoms with similar dynamics, some would think of AbFab, with fashion hedonist Eddie Monsoon and her chain-smoking pal Patsy. Or Peep Show, with anxiety-ridden Mark Corrigan and party animal Jez. But I think Fleabag would be more comparable in this scenario.
Do you think I should become a Catholic?
No, don't do that. I like that you believe in a meaningless existence. And you're good for me. You make me question my faith.
And?
I've never felt closer to God.
Natasha. That is your name, isn't it?
Yes.
Oh, Natasha. I know it's a bit sudden, but I love you. I love you with all my heart and all my soul and all my, you know.
Hey, what are you craving?
Oh, just a really, really cheap thrill.
For you?
Oh. Hello.
No, it's for her sister.
Yes, for my very sexually frustrated sister.
Can I help you, sir? No? Do you wish to purchase anything to assist you with your sex life?
What are you implying? That I'm some sort of sexual inadequate? I have a very full and rich and varied sex life, thank you very much. I don't need anything from a shop like this. Oh, no, do we have to? Oh, no, it's just awful. I hate it. Let's just skip the whole thing, shall we? What about you? Are you on the list? I mean, you do.
For some of you, it's probably no surprise that a show named Bottom is going to have some gay subtext in it. As for the rest of you, you're probably like... But Richie and Eddie are just friends, they're as straight as pencils, they could never be a couple.
I'm not a homosexual, if that's what you're thinking.
Eddie, the man who once helped Richie when he was attacked by thugs at a carnival. Who stayed with him when alone on his birthday.
There you go.
You're forgiven.
Who went to a hotel with him and drag to spend some stolen honeymoon tickets.
Mrs. O'Jones.
All right, Mr. O'Jones. have some fun. Yeah. See how much of a bill we can work up in 3 days. Yeah.
Owned a hotel of his own with him. Got stranded on an island.
Well, I'm good with a spade. Yes. You're not strictly heterosexual, are you, Richard?
Anyway, I don't care what you say. She's still had one hell of a cleavage.
They were pectorals, you fool!
There's the entirety of the Ars Oddity live show where he's having dreams about Eddie, which is also referenced in the film Guesthouse Paradiso.
You foul, perverted beast! I love you!
Where his dreams about dancing ladies turn into Eddie in a dress. There's the fact that he and Eddie literally sign a marriage form in the first live show.
What does this mean? Well, say something!
Hello? Darling?
We're married.
Afraid so? Maybe.
You're my wife!
Yeah, well, don't rub it in.
I have absolutely no intention of rubbing it in, young woman. I mean, you're my wife!
Yeah, that's about the size of it. Sugar?
See how I live!
In the show, he tries so hard to hide it. Yet in the live shows, he'll just campily frolic along the stage.
See me scamper about the place with a band on!
Like Eddie is the only person who gets him, who understands him, and that besides all their remarks and bickering, that they do really care for each other and could never be without one another. But there are exceptions. For example, the episode where they play chess is even more camp than the actual camping episode, where they're hanging out in Wimbledon Common, together, in one tent.
Some straight, old male, white energy.
Camp is an aesthetic known for being very lively, audacious, and dynamic, also something that is supposed to be taken seriously, but is enjoyed ironically.
No, it's a smoking jacket. Look, the quilting. All the sophisticated people are wearing them.
Why have you got one on then?
Seeing Richie and Eddie take their silly money-making scheme seriously, with a ridiculously iconic chess episode where they're playing chess while holding giant umbrellas, while Richie is gallivanting about the place, thinking he's Oscar Wilde, just because he has a smoking jacket on, which in reality is just his raincoat back to front.
Cigarette, my dear? I don't mind if I do, my dear. Have a bit of a biro to smoke it through. Oh, tar very much. For your new play was great, by the way. Oh, there's only one thing better than having a great play, and that's having two great plays. That doesn't make any sense, Oscar. I know, none of my stuff does, you know. Oh. Nice bit of biro, by the way. Tar very much. Nice.
Right.
Okay, have you got any alcohol on you?
Hey, that's a good idea. Let's drink ourselves to death, then we won't notice.
Give it to me, give it to me, give it to me. What's in this?
It's so camp. Even small subtle signs, like when Richie waves his hands around at the mention of
And Drambuie.
Drambuie!
is a delight to watch when his voice tone is soft and just glides around the kitchen making double entendre to Eddie.
It's a bit personal, isn't it? Oh, so you mean my sausage?
Yes?
You're asking me about my sausage?
Sausage, yes?
Not my penis. Oh, thank heavens for that. Well, what can I tell you, Eddie? It's an absolute disaster. I just can't get the hang of this cooking lark. I mean, you put the sausage in the pan, you set it on fire, and what happens? It gets incinerated.
Well, maybe we should eat our flakes.
Oh, see what you mean. I think I'm getting double entendre disease.
Can I drink your juice?
Oh, yes. Yes, of course, go ahead. I think I'm going mad this morning.
While Richie's canon sexuality is up to the viewer to decide between the lines, I personally headcanon him as pan, but you do you. That's not even getting into the trip that is Guesthouse Paradiso, where Richie runs the worst hotel and turns into Frankenfurter from Rocky Horror halfway through, with Simon Pegg as Brad Majors, except this version is just Rick Mail wearing some underwear that makes him look like a pufferfish! No offense to the late Rick Mail, you looked amazing in that outfit. It's just a different ball game, no pun intended, for Richie. How he goes from restricting this side of himself only to just willingly try on this pair of underwear, which fits him. Until a kitchen mishap turns him bright red and all hell breaks loose. Trigger warning for the rest of that film if you have emetophobia, vomit is a big theme later on. Gross out is another big theme in Bottom and Guesthouse Paradiso. There is no shortage of jokes about vomit, sex, and fecal matter. While this may be a turn-off to some, what is the reason why we love shows like Peep Show, Fleabag, and Bottom? The relatability of it all. When you watch Peep Show, you feel less bad about your own social skills because you watch Mark Corrigan's point of view. You feel like, I'm not alone. When you're in your 20s binging Fleabag, you see her go through her issues and you feel like, I'm not alone. Or a sad, queer, neurodivergent adult like myself, you see Richie and Eddie in Bottom and it makes you feel, you're not alone. British humour does tend to be stereotypically more cynical, but I personally love it when dark comedies shed a light on the things in life we usually don't talk about but all go through. Depression, anxiety, having to deal with society's beauty standards, dating, self-care, stress, communication issues, these are all explored in Bottom. Now, let's get to the main picture, masculinity and how Bottom discusses it and subverts it. Despite there at times relatable moments, Richie and Eddie are not always the characters you should be rooting for. They are old British dudes who have no idea how to interact with women. Richie and Eddie blame the rest of the world for their situation, being at the bottom of the social ladder, instead of addressing their own issues that might have contributed to the outcome. Richie with his lack of social skills and at times smug attitude, and Eddie with his violent rages. There's the Smells episode where they buy a sex spray to get girls and the girls end up being a lesbian couple. This doesn't end well and is one of the signs Bottom is a product of its time. This also serves as social commentary for how stereotypical straight men treat lesbians and generally any woman who isn't attracted to them. There's the Apocalypse episode where some thugs steal Richie's wallet and there's some outdated jokes about travelers in there. Richie is plagued with worry about being cursed with the idea he may die, and he takes advantage of this and dresses up as the Grim Reaper. There's the episode where Richie and Eddie look after a corner shop, only to end up hassling the customers and getting stuck on the roof.
You were right. Maybe watching the cricket will be a bit safer, Eddie. What's the plan?
And the episode where they find a scandalous sex tape and get attacked by the SAS. but for all the age. It's to show satire, it's to show realism, although for some viewers it may be too realistic, and that's understandable. These two men are presenting to the viewers the stereotypical entitled behavior that some men show. This is Rick and Eddie's way of pointing to Richie and Eddie and being like, men, do better, be nicer to women, don't be like Richie and Eddie. Speaking of Eddie, he has his own hurdles to deal with. While his communication skills are noticeably better than Richie, he has an anger problem and is distracted by booze in the same way a toddler is distracted when a pair of shiny keys is being shown to them.
Why, that's very kind of you. Thank you. I'll have a pint of mild.
A pint of Maya.
Make it a double.
A double.
Oh, what a cracking pair of buns you got there.
He has a codependency problem, both with his hobby and his chaotic flatmate. They have their own roles in the schemes they plan.
Yeah, well, we are on the right-hand side of the road.
Yeah. What? Bloody hell.
In the gas episode, Richie knocks out the gas inspector and Eddie raids a neighbor's fridge and burns down his kitchen.
Eddie, what the bloody hell do you think you're doing?
I thought I'd burn it off.
What, your face?
Oh, the excess...
I simply don't understand how the shower works.
He was trying to pork me, you know.
Of course he was, my dear. Men, sure. They're only ever after one thing. Sexist bastards!
In the finger episode, after scolding Richie for flirting with the maid, he then does the same thing.
Maybe in the nude. Tell me, my dear. Are you at all interested in the pleasures of Sappho? Perhaps you'd like to come on a Winter Wonderland waterbed cruise to the Isle of Lesbos.
In Digger, he attacks a door-to-door charity worker.
Do you want to come in or not?
No, I don't. I'm collecting for the needy. This is for victims of domestic violence.
Not very much. Looks like a bit of a nasty one. Have some use upon your bonds.
In Break, he abandons Richie to go on holiday.
Don't worry. I'm sure I can find an alternative use for your ticket.
He has the social skills and inventing ability to probably manage a job, but it's his codependency that holds him back. This escalates from not just booze, but Eddie will create a mixed drink out of anything.
Brandy. Good. Meths, Perno, paint stripper, Mr. Sheen, brake fluid.
Metaphorically, Richie and Eddie could have more money if they saved up enough, but then Eddie would have to part with his habit of overspending on booze. Bonham takes inspiration from many things, from Tom and Jerry to classic pioneers like Laurel and Hardy, and Samuel Beckett's Waiting for Godot, which Rick and Eddie had been in production of prior to Bonham's release. The Tom and Jerry influence is evident in the use of goofy sound effects and over-the-top fights, in which Richie and Eddie will turn anything into a weapon. Tent nails. Umbrellas. Lights. Richie's head. A chainsaw. Or a candle. The Laurel and Hardy and Godot influence is also evident. although Gatto is more similar to some of the live shows where the focus is completely on Richie and Eddie in one location and not their interactions with other characters. As for Laurel and Hardy, Stan and Ollie also tend to get in sticky situations like Richie and Eddie do. In some sketches with domestic settings, live together as comedic antics ensue. This is where some of the charm of Richie and Eddie is. It's not just about their interactions with the world around them, it's their own specific dynamic. When they're not pelting each other with things, they're going to the fairground together.
Right, now this is definitely the last ride of the evening, Eddie. We've had more than enough fun for one night, working our way through all the stalls and attractions. Besides which, I think I'm about up to my £3 limit. How much did this ride cost, by the way?
£3.
There you are, you see.
Talking about news anchors they fancy together.
A signed photo of Sue Carpenter? Game?
You bet.
7-card stud or crazy eights?
Makes no difference to me, mate. I don't know the rules.
Right, 1-card slam it is then.
You know.
Recording home videos together. Or even temporarily looking after a baby. Just a middle-aged British himbo man and a spectacled husband. Their dynamic is interesting to watch, regardless of if you see it as a friendship or a QPR. I'm not talking about Eddie's football team. Richie and Eddie can never be separated. While it may seem like they don't get on most of the time with their bickering, they need each other. Richie, without Eddie, struggles to settle in new social environments. He also panics easily when stressed about something. Eddie, without Richie, is a self-destructive dog. He may look like he can cope fine with Spud Gun and Dave Hedgehog.
Now, before telly was invented. Oh, they had cockfights.
But then his habit takes up most of the day, and all of a sudden he doesn't know where he is or how to get home. They help lift each other up in a way. Aside from the bickering, they're good chums. Richie helps Eddie when he's in a jam. Such as in the Halloween episode where he helps get back at some trick-or-treaters after seeing them hurt Eddie. And sometimes, when Richie's in a jam, Eddie helps him out. As in the Apocalypse episode, where Richie's wallet is stolen and is hassled by a carnival worker. Eddie decides to shoot the carnival worker in the eye. Sometimes Richie is stupid or clumsy.
Eddie, that is absolutely pathetic.
Stereotypically, men are supposed to be strong, buff blokes who don't show their emotions. But Richie is open with his emotions, sometimes too much, to the point of being the butt of the joke when a violent stunt goes wrong. But he's not all bad. Sometimes Richie's just chilling at home working on his less than stellar cooking. Washing up and reading his lifestyle mags in his cute little pink and blue apron. That almost looks like the trans color palette. I wonder why. So not only does Bonham address and satirize toxic masculinity through some of Richie and Eddie's actions, but also subverts it through showing Richie enjoying his magazines, his campiness, and his love for pufferfish underwear without a care in the world. Sometimes Richie can be really endearing. From at the end of the first live show where he thanks Eddie for being his mate.
You know, we've known each other a long time, and, you know, I know we've had our little spats. Well, we've had our big spats too, haven't we? Oh, this is stupid. Look, I guess all I'm really trying to say is thank you for being my friend.
And the Christmas special, Holy, where he and Eddie, Spudgun, and Dave Hedgehog look after a baby left on their doorstep.
Who is it?
I don't know, he can't talk.
Well, punch him in the face and kick him down the stairs. I mean, if he's too drunk to talk, he won't put up much of a fight, will he? Go on! Enjoy yourself, it's Christmas!
Guys, it's a baby. What? I've got a baby.
About that apron. It is canon that Richie is in fact a trans man. He's been on hormone replacement therapy
Anyway, look, they've gone down now, haven't they?
and openly states the word.
Calls along to Dr. O'Grady's personal organ enhancement clinic. Love it!
In the episode culture, Eddie mentions that Richie went to a dodgy clinic for some procedure. Considering how hard it was and is to access healthcare, I wouldn't be surprised if in Bottom, Richie was trying to get some bottom surgery. In the episode Whole, Richie doesn't like the idea of Eddie seeing his chest.
But if you have the common decency to go out and get yourself a proper job and not hang around the flat all day like some vast slug, then perhaps I would have the opportunity to take my top off and wash it without the risk of you seeing my nipples.
And even in the film Guesthouse Paradiso, he and Eddie go by different names. Richie Twait and Eddie Ninkumbaba respectfully, and Richie is not pleased when people don't use the right name.
Mr. Twat. It's pronounced Thwaite.
What do you know? Looks like Richie is a canon trans character. I love that, and you'll probably guess by my username that I've taken a bit of inspiration from that. In countless interviews, Rick and Aid mentioned that there were elements of Richie and Eddie taken from their own personalities, with Richie taken from Rick, Eddie taken from Edmondson. Now, instead of speculating on the countless personality traits and events that these characters deal with, I'll just say that Bottom definitely showcases Adrian's experiences with windows very well. As it does with males' experiences with stairs. I'd say if you're looking for a good but silly dark show, then give Bottom a watch on Dailymotion. The live shows are all on YouTube. Content warning, however, for references for gross men behavior and very self-deprecating humor about mental illness.